From top to bottom, the New York Football Giants are a joke. We're going to break that down on today's show. But first, there's been a lot of talk about Daniel Jones and should he continue to have the opportunity to be this great franchise's quarterback. I want to hear from you right now. If you want the Giants to bench Daniel Jones, hit that thumbs up icon. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everybody that has subscribed to this channel. We crossed over 53,000 subscribers yesterday, and thank you to everybody that took time out of their Sunday to hang out with us during our Week 1 watch party. Over 50,000 Giants fans tuned in, so I just want to say thank you for that. But let's get to this. Yesterday was bad, but it was actually worse than you think. Like, you talk about the score, 28-6. Not that bad. Giants lost 40-0 last year in Week 1. No, this is actually worse than 40-0. Let's start here. We're going to talk Daniel Jones. We're going to talk Brian Daboll. And we're going to talk Shane Bowen because everybody deserves a little piece of the pie when it comes to the blame. Daniel Jones yesterday completed 52.4% of his passes for 186 yards, 0 touchdowns. And, well, he did throw a touchdown to Andrew Van Ginkel. He just plays for the other team. 2 interceptions. Yet again, Daniel Jones throws another pick 6. Let's start with this, though, because I've already seen this comment 100 times. But, Marshall, the offensive line. How is any quarterback supposed to operate with an offensive line like the New York Giants? What, they gave up 5 sacks yesterday? They gave up 12 pressures? What about this? The New York Giants offensive line. Let's work from the bottom down, or top down. Daniel Jones, on average, had 2.82 seconds to throw yesterday, the 12th most in all of Week 1. 30 teams have already played. He was pressured on 36.7% of his dropbacks. 12 QBs faced more pressure than Daniel Jones did in Week 1. The offensive line was credited with just 4 of the 12 QB hurries, which means 8 of the 12 were because of Daniel Jones. Also, Giants offensive line, they allowed 5 sacks, but only 1 of them was credited to the offensive line. So Daniel Jones was credited with 8 pressures and 4 sacks that were self-inflicted. Think about it like this. Daniel Jones was pressured on 18 dropbacks yesterday. He was responsible for 7 of those 18 pressures, the 3rd highest rate of any quarterback to play during Week 1. He also was credited with 3 sacks, the highest rank of any quarterback in Week 1. The offensive line was responsible for 55.6% of the pressures, the 2nd lowest rate in all of Week 1. So I'll say it again, Daniel Jones has the worst pocket presence I have ever seen in my life. My 29 years of watching football, Daniel Jones is the worst quarterback I have ever seen at manipulating the pocket, resetting the pocket, and creating more time for him to throw. He runs into more sacks than I have ever seen in my life. But you know what? The receivers weren't open because Marshall, he can't have time to throw and none of the wide receivers are open. That's what everybody tells me. That's what my dad called me last night. Marshall, how's he supposed to get the ball to his receivers? They're not open. Well, the Giants wide receivers yesterday, they averaged 4.4 yards of separation. The 4th best in the National Football League. So when it comes to separation, you had the 4th best wide receivers. When it comes to your offensive line allowing pressure, you had the 2nd best offensive line. All you have to do, Daniel Jones, is throw the ball to Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors averaged 3.9 yards per separation on each route he ran. That was number 8 in all of the football that happened in Week 1. So receivers are running open. You're running into sacks. Daniel Jones can't even do the bare minimum. I know all offseason, Brian Daboll talked about we're going to be an explosive offense. We're going to take shots. Daniel Jones, remember that video I did last week saying Daniel Jones said what? He said we're going to be explosive. We're confident we're going to be explosive. Daniel Jones had 1 pass of more than 20 yards in the air. We can't even ask him to do that, though, because we can't even have him do the little things Listen to this. Daniel Jones has the highest expected completion percentage of the afternoon. This was at halftime. According to Next Gen Stats, Daniel Jones was expected to complete 79.6% of his passes. He completed 53.3 of them. On those throws, he averaged 3.8 yards per target. He threw the ball downfield less than 4 yards, and he completed 53% of his passes. At the half, he was minus 26.2% when it comes to completion percentage over expected. Can we all process that? The guy on average threw the ball 4 yards downfield, and he completed less than 60% of his passes. For the entire day, his completion percentage over expected, the worst in the National Football League in week 1, minus 17.5. His EPA, estimated points added per play, negative 22.5. The second worst of all quarterbacks in the National Football League. Ladies and gentlemen, it is year 6. And you know what? I'm kind of just running out of words at this point. So let's just kind of just try to paint this picture and put more color to it. Since Daniel Jones put pen to paper, since he wrote his name on the dotted line for a 4-year, $160 million contract, he's thrown 2 passing touchdowns and 3 pick sixes. Daniel Jones has thrown more touchdowns to the defense than he has to New York Giants players since he signed a 4-year, $160 million contract. It gets worse. In Daniel Jones' last 8 games as an NFL quarterback, the last 8 times that he put on the great jersey of a New York Football Giant, he's thrown 2 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, he's thrown 3 pick sixes, and he has fumbled the football 5 times. In the last 8 games, the brother has thrown 2 touchdowns, 3 to the other team, 9 interceptions, and he's fumbled the football 5 times. It is embarrassing to the fan base that John Mara continues to put trust and confidence into this man. It is embarrassing to every player that has ever worn a New York Giants jersey for them to have to waste their Sundays watching Daniel Jones play quarterback. If the Giants want to remove themselves from the laughingstock of the National Football League, they must bench Daniel Jones. It's not year 1. It's not year 2. It's not year 3 or 4 or 5. We are 1,964 days into the Daniel Jones experiment. Daniel Jones has almost been a Giant for 2,000 days. It's over. It's done. Like, is he probably the best quarterback on this team? I'll let you debate that. But I'm a guy that believes you got to earn your spot. And Daniel Jones has not earned the right to be the starting quarterback for the New York Football Giants in their 100th year as a franchise. It is disrespectful to the fans, to the players on this team, and to the alumni that you continue to trot out number 8 to play under center. It's not all Daniel Jones' fault. It is primarily Daniel Jones' fault, no doubt about it. But this team, from the top down, is run like a JV team. We had a punt returner yesterday. Returned punts for the first time in his career. He's been in the NFL for more than 5 years. Did Brian Daboll just go before the team, before the game, and say, hey, who wants to return punts today? Gunnar Olszewski got hurt in pregame warmups. Me. No! You haven't learned yet. We sadly have more things to talk about how bad this football team is. But first, I got to give a major shout out to our proud ticketing sponsor. If you're looking for tickets to the Giants this year, or maybe the Yankees, or the Mets, or you want to go catch a Knicks game this year, do it with our proud sponsor, Game Time. You get the best seats for the lowest prices guaranteed. Prices actually drop as the events get closer, and yeah, you get the lowest price guaranteed. And if you use that promo code ChatSports, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. Game Time, it makes buying tickets super easy. You get a view from the seat inside the app when you're looking to buy different tickets. You get to access your tickets from your phone, and it's really easy to resell. your tickets. I also love the features that they have that they make able and open to their customers, like the all-in pricing feature. That way the price you see is the price you pay. And then the game time picks. It pretty much filters your feed to only show your favorite teams, making it that much easier to buy tickets to go see the Giants or the Yankees or the Mets or the Knicks or the Rangers or the Devils or whatever team you want to go buy. Or you go to a concert, theater event, comedy show, something like that. If you need tickets to go to an event, do it with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code ChatSports, ChatSports, and get $20 off your first purchase. All of that information is clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. There was a lot of talk yesterday about Brian Daboll did not set up the Giants to have success. And I can agree with that. Brian Daboll did not call a good game in his first opportunity as the offensive coordinator officially for the New York Giants. Just recap some of it. What about the back-to-back QB powers at midfield on second and third down? You go empty set, no backs in the backfield, Daniel Jones by his lonesome, 5 wide, and we drop a QB power on 3rd and 2. What about the screen pass that turned into a pick 6 to Andrew Van Ginkel? My mother knew that screen pass was coming. You got a quad set on the right with a stacked trip set and Wan'Dale Robinson short motions behind him. No shit, you're throwing him the pass right there. I knew it. My mother knew it. Smitty knew it. And, of course, Andrew Van Ginkel knew it. He said it after the game. I knew what was coming. And Daniel Jones just threw me the ball. If we can tell, they can tell. But I don't also want to overblame Brian Daboll because he deserves a lot of it, just not all of it. Brian Daboll got outcoached by O'Connell. He got outcoached by Brian Flores. Brian Flores is a guy that is known for bringing the blitz. They blitzed on more percentage of downs in 2023 than any other team in the NFL. That's why we saw a lot of 2 tight end sets for the Giants yesterday. A lot of Theo Johnson, a lot of Daniel Bellinger, a lot of Chris Manhertz, because the Giants were prepping for the Vikings to blitz. So what did the Vikings do? They showed you pre-snap looks that they were blitzing. They crowded the line of scrimmage. They painted the picture for Daniel Jones that they were blitzing, and then they didn't. And the Giants' whole game plan was to prepare for the blitz. It is hard, though, to draw up an explosive offense with Daniel Jones as your quarterback. It's hard for a minivan to operate like a Corvette. It's hard for a truck to move like a sports car. How on earth can we expect Daniel Jones to operate an explosive offense when he can't even do the little things? We asked him to throw the ball 4 yards down the field, and he completes 20% less than the expected completion percentage. Look, I'm not saying that Brian Daboll doesn't deserve any blame. He 100% deserves part of the blame. But Lordy, he's working with a crippled quarterback back there. He is working with a guy that is the worst starting quarterback in the National Football League. Of all the quarterbacks that played on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, Daniel Jones was the worst of all of them. But let's continue to talk about Brian Daboll because you know what? I'm starting to question if he's the guy for this team. He just went out, spoke to the media, and said Daniel Jones is our quarterback. And if you do not bench Daniel Jones, if you do not have the nuts to bench Daniel Jones, I don't want you as my team's head coach. Because head coaches have to make tough decisions that are best for this football team. And right now, trotting out Daniel Jones is not best for this team. You think Malik Neighbors believes in Daniel Jones? You think Andrew Thomas believes in Daniel Jones? You think Jermaine Illuminor believes in Daniel Jones? Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence? You think those guys go into the locker room saying, yo, we got a quarterback that's going to help us go win a football game today? They don't. And your locker room will quit on you if they continue to see number 8 under center. What about this? Darius Slayton returning punts? He's never returned punts before. This is the 3rd year in a row the Giants go into week 1 without a punt returner. We saw Richie James fumble the ball twice in 2022. We saw then Adoree Jackson tear his knee up returning punts. Then in 2023, we draft Eric Gray out of Tennessee and Oklahoma, never returned punts. We tell him to go return punts. He muffs a punt. You put Sterling Shepard back there, he muffs a punt. So what do? You had Gunnar Olszewski, and he plays well. Now Gunner's hurt. You don't have another answer. And then you say, who wants to return punts? And Darius Slayton, he raised his hand. But it wasn't just that. There was a lot of other stuff that I did not understand. Giants prepped for the blitz-happy Vikings. They said, we're going to keep more guys in the block so you can't blitz. Thing is, We had 2 people on routes, and there was 5 guys in coverage a lot of the times because the Vikings did not really blitz all that much. And because you had a lot of 2 tight end sets, Jalen Hyatt didn't play. I'm not saying Hyatt deserves to play a bunch, but 16 snaps? You told me all offseason you wanted to be explosive. If Chris Manhertz is out snapping Jalen Hyatt, you are never going to be an explosive offense. What about Isaiah Simmons, the money backer, the starting slot corner, the guy that's going to be an explosive piece of your defense? 0 snaps. What about Boogie Basham, the guy you traded a 7th and 6th round pick for last year? Did not play. Inactive. What about Cordell Flott, the guy that Brian Daboll told me and Jerome Henderson told me was going to be the starting outside corner? All he did all offseason long was practice as the outside corner. What did he do in week 1? He played in the slot. What about Micah McFadden? Not on the injury report, and he didn't play. What are we doing? All offseason long's the thing you practiced, the things you preached, you didn't do. You told me you wanted to be more explosive, so you come out and run 12 personnel the majority of the game. You want to be fast on defense. Isaiah Simmons doesn't play. Deonte Banks and Cordell Flott are our boundary corners. Flott plays in the slot. Why'd you practice? Why'd you have training camp? Everything you did to work for this moment, you did the opposite. And Jesus Christ, don't even get me started on Shane Bowen. Your defense got cooked by Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is on his 4th team in the National Football League, and you got dog-walked. You got cooked. Shane Bowen, I was told you were hired because your ability to stop the run. Aaron Jones, 90-plus yards. I was told you got hired because of your ability to generate stops in the red zone. Vikings went 2 for 2 in the red zone. They beat you on a 4th down. Everyone in the stadium knew it was a backside slant to Justin Jefferson when the running back motioned out into the slot. What did Deonte Banks do? No inside leverage, no help from the linebacker. Justin Jefferson, easy slant touchdown. Brian Burns, did you show up? Kayvon Thibodeau, you can go on all these podcasts. You can go talk to Ryan Clark. You can go talk to all these dudes. You had 1 missed tackle and 0 tackles on the day, Kayvon Thibodeau. We're still waiting for you to show up. That was worse than 40-0. Because going into week 1 of 2023, we had high hopes. But we also knew the Cowboys were a good team. And shit rolled downhill that day. Blocked field goal on the first play, turned it into a touchdown. What could go wrong did go wrong. The reason this was worse, anybody with an actual brain inside their ears knew the Giants were not going to be good this year. And they came in well below all of our expectations. We had to take our medicine yesterday and understand that we are so far away from being a competitive team, and we have to ask the question again. Do we have the right GM, and do we have the right head coach? Yesterday was worse than 40-0. What's your confidence level in Brian Daboll? I want to believe in Brian Daboll. I just don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Quick little injury update. Shout out to Dan Solomon. Brian Daboll said Nick McLeod's knee is more day-to-day, but could be week-to-week. Darius Slayton is in the concussion protocol. Gunnar Olszewski groin will be out for weeks, and linebacker Carter Coughlin, who has a pec injury, will be out for months. Not ideal. It is just week 1, and you got a game against the Washington Commanders, who just lost by 17 to the Bucs in week 2. Week 2 is a must-win. Or man, oh man, it is going to get ugly. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm posting about the Giants all the time. Hit me up over there, and let's go Big Blue.